you doing? Welcome to Mary Walter Radio, the podcast. Oh my gosh, what an insane show we are about to have. I am Mary Walter. That is James Ray Bick, my work husband, former producer for me. You look really tall. I look really short. I have to sit on a telephone book or move my camera or something, but you look really tall. And we're going to find out when we're done here talking politics. James has a quick story to tell us why he didn't make it to Tuesday's podcast with Sean Spicer of Life with Mary Walter, because James had a bit of an issue. But we're going to jump right into this. You have to excuse me. I've got a bunch of windows open on the computer, so I'm going to be looking away from the camera a lot in order to check out what's happening on Twitter and, on Fox and on Reuters and everything else. So I may not be looking at you all the time, but, that's fine. You'll live with that. Okay. Joining us. All right. First of all, we need you. Hold on. Before I introduce our guest, we need you to, of course, like the podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. We do have 2 new subscribers, and I will thank them shortly as soon as I get to my page. Either that or I'll thank you on Tuesday. I write down everybody's names and I try to thank you for subscribing. Really, really do appreciate that. Remember, you can always go to, if you're not watching on YouTube, you can go to YouTube and search on Mary Walter Radio. And you can watch past episodes of both Life with Mary Walter and Mary Walter Radio. So we appreciate it if you do that. Now, without further ado, our guest, you know him from Newsmax. He's a talk radio host. This guy has been everywhere. I'm sure you know him. He's been on in Chicago, in Washington, in Washington, D.C., in Philly, San Francisco, Dallas, everywhere, all the big markets. Incredible. He's currently on Newsmax Radio, where he is syndicated, and his home station is out of WCBM in Baltimore. He actually wrote material for Rush Limbaugh for decades. So he was the guy behind the scenes. He is a video and audio podcaster. You probably have seen some of his podcasts. He actually has 2 of them. What in the World is Going On with Rob Carson is about politics, pop culture, and comedy. And his other podcast is Soundbites. This one is amazing. I had no idea. And I didn't realize this was Rob doing the cooking, because you don't see his face unless you just see the hands, you see the ingredients and stuff like that. He's a gourmet cook. I don't know if he wants to be called a chef, but a gourmet cook as well. So it's crazy. Big into volunteering, and just an incredible guy, someone who has helped further my career, and I love him for it. Rob Carson.
Hey, wow, you really gave him like $20 for it. Thank you. Thank you.
It's so true. And you can catch him 8:00 on Saturdays on Newsmax TV, but then he also pops around as a commentator on the channel as well.
So I'm all over the place. You can't escape me. Hi.
Hi. Thank you. So I found out, it's so weird. Newsmax contacted me about having you on, which I thought was interesting. I was like, all right. That's cool.
Well, obviously, they know your reach as we're growing into different markets and everything. And it's kind of a tough slog, because right now we're at about 40 stations nationwide. A lot of people are in contracts or whatever. We just got in New York on WOR, dipping their toes into the show. We're doing the weekends. They're kind of, making a difference. So, Newsmax wants me to get out, wants to give me some reach. And we still are, in our infancy. We're at 40 plus stations, but we've got a long way to go. So, Newsmax, you're on the radar. They know who you are. You do a great job. And a lot of people there respect you. I respect you, of course. So, that's why they did it. I'm glad to be here. Finally, it's really cool, actually. Thank you.
And what a night to be with us at about like 5:15. I'm downstairs in the kitchen because, my IT department was late today. And so I'm just making some tuna fish, and just a bowl of tuna fish. And so I can run around and do what I have to do. And I have Fox on, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And it was the wildest thing, because all the programming was all messed up, right? Yeah. So I bop through all of them. Here's the list, the order in which I go. I go to CNN, then I go to I start with Fox, then I go to CNN, then I go to MSNBC, and then I go to Newsmax, and then I start the rotation again. Yeah. So I go, because I figured 2 liberal and 2 conservative, right? Yeah. So I figured that that's a good balance. So I go back and forth between those stations, between those channels. That's my deal. So when I turned the TV on, it was on Fox. So, and I was getting ready to go to CNN as the next station. And I was like, oh my gosh. Cause I had it on Judge Judy. And upstairs, and downstairs was on Fox. So
Yeah.
we know that Alvin Bragg, the grand jury came down. They indicted Donald Trump. Although his legal team has been informed, it is still sealed. We don't know what's in it. We don't know the charges that they are indicting him on. But we do know that Alvin Bragg has twisted himself into a pretzel to make this a federal charge, because otherwise it's a misdemeanor that the FEC, the Federal Election Committee, chose not to indict. The Southern District of New York also punted on this case as well. But Alvin Bragg campaigned on getting Trump. And so now I guess he figured he did. So, Rob, I got to ask you, is this a smart move? Read the tea leaves for us.
Well, is it really a surprise? Donald Trump was raided. His Mar-a-Lago home was raided. It was unprecedented. That was before the midterms. Today kind of surprised me as too, because I had done an appearance with Chris Salcedo, took a little nappy new, I wake up, you're like, hey, we got a lot to talk about. I'm like, I know. And then I went, oh crap, they indicted Donald Trump. Martyrs don't become martyrs until they're martyred. That's it. I mean, Galileo wasn't getting anything until he got arrested. You're complaining Donald Trump with Galileo. Oh, hell yes, I am. Donald Trump has 80 million voters behind him. It's a massive political movement. I equate him every sense of the way with people like Nelson Mandela. I equate him every way with people like Lech Walesa or Václav Havel. Hell yes. This is a movement. This is a massive movement in the United States of America, the biggest engine of individual and economic freedom in the history of mankind. And they are taking a leader and they are attempting to imprison him, take him down for political reasons. This is historical stuff. And it is not to be in any way, shape, or form to be minimized. What they've done here is earth-shattering. It's the first time that American president has been indicted. I believe the other one I saw was Ulysses Grant, and I'm not kidding. And he got something for riding his horse too fast. I'm not kidding. I just saw this. And this is purely political. We have a guy in the White House who's got millions of dollars for the Chinese Communist Party. It is clear for all to see. We have a man in the White House whose son's laptop was left at a laptop repair shop and has shown the whole world how ungodly corrupt his family is. We have zero media curiosity with regard to that story, yet they are making up charges to go after Donald Trump. This is gigantic. This is, and I'm trying not to be really pissed about it, but because I think it's gonna fall flat on its face. And I think, for lack of a better term, the giant has been kind of laying there like, okay, let me sleep. The giant is awake right now, and the American people are pissed. And I'll just say this as well, and I'm not meaning in any way, shape, or form to be pejorative to those of faith, because I am a person of faith. I am a big believer in Christianity. I believe in Jesus Christ, our Savior. But I will tell you right now that Jesus Christ could say he's going to run on the GOP ticket, and Donald Trump would still be the candidate. All right. And you could, it's not meaning in any way, shape, or form to be blasphemous. I'm just saying that's just the way people are right now. Ron DeSantis is done. Everybody's done as far as Trump voters. He will be the candidate, or Trump voters will just say, screw it, we start our own party, or we're not going to vote. I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are going to fight back, and I think Democrats and Republicans, even Chris Cuomo, his
Andrew.
brother, yeah, he even said this was nonsense. So, Alvin Bragg, enjoy your time in the spotlight. You're going to go down in history as the most political DA in the history of America that really put the magnifying glass on how ungodly corrupt our DOJ has become. How's that?
Good.
That came out in one good long flow.
I'm going to go to sleep now. Good night.
All right. So yeah, Ron DeSantis, just a couple things. Ron DeSantis came out and he tweeted out and said the weaponization of the legal system to advance a political agenda turns the rule of law on its head. It is un-American. The Soros-backed Manhattan district attorney has consistently bent the law to downgrade felonies and to excuse criminal misconduct, yet now he is stretching the law to target a political opponent. Florida will not assist in an extradition request given the questionable circumstances at issue with this Soros-backed Manhattan prosecutor and his political agenda.
Yes.
So does Trump just get in Trump Force One and just fly up there and go, sure, I'll walk in, and he's gonna walk in. He wants to be handcuffed. He wants the whole 9 yards because he knows it's going to anger the base.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if Trump needs to anger the base, right? We had Joy Behar on The View saying that Trump's going to win. Do they want to run against Trump? Is that what they want? Because they figure they could just run the same playbook. Biden doesn't campaign, and they mess with the election again. If you believe it was messed with, which I kind of do, they just do the same playbook again, and they beat Trump again.
I wouldn't suggest doing that. That's all I have to say. I wouldn't suggest doing it. You've really, really done it this time. We've had 7 years of this nonsense. We've had 7 years of abuse. As a conservative commentator, I pointed out the other day on Facebook. I remember I even posted on my Facebook. I was getting reach in 2018 on Facebook. I was becoming a major publisher. I was reaching, 800,000 to 1 million people a week. On October 31st of 2018, all of my network pages disappeared, and I have been shadow banned on Facebook since, taken down the day after the election. Same way with YouTube, same way with Twitter. We have had a war declared on us for 7 years. We had an election in 2016. The FBI interfered in it. Hillary Clinton tried to buy and pay for it. Nobody was held accountable. The Hunter Biden laptop was covered up by the FBI in 2020. The election was stolen. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. You know why I think it was stolen? Because I'm not stupid. And all the evidence. And then, of course, the nonsense with regard to the raid on Mar-a-Lago before the midterms with Joe Scarborough. Nuclear secrets. Yeah, really, where are the nuclear secrets? This is it. I mean, honestly, this is it. When you look at all of the other things we're finding about the deep state, about the government, about the abuse of the DOJ. Today, we got big news about Jacob Chansley being released. He's the face they made him the face of the January 6th uprising, which was not an insurrection. The FBI said it wasn't an insurrection. They had to release him because of exculpatory evidence, which showed he was led around the building, led into the chamber. You had that happen today. You've got a similar situation here. Jacob Chansley had excoriating evidence kept from his defense by Nancy Pelosi, by the powers that be in Washington, D.C., by the January 6th committee. And last week, we found out that there were 600 pages of exculpatory evidence held by Alvin Bragg that would have ended this with the grand jury. So this is a similar modus operandi, but I really think that people are going to be done with this. And I'm talking about a point where people are just going to get to the point where we're no longer just going to be a means of taxation and production. Peaceful, of course, everything's peaceful, but I just think that we're done with this nonsense. We've been shut down. We had a peaceful protest in DC of 1 million people that was infiltrated by the FBI, by terrorist groups, by 14 left-wing groups, according to Newsmax.
DC police.
To Newsweek. Newsweek said that. The Capitol police officer in charge said there were 15 known terrorists. The FBI said they were coming to DC on January the 6th. The only people who'd been committing acts of massive violence are the left. We saw the summer of 2020. Trump supporters never do that. So I just think that this is it. This is going to be the end of Alvin Bragg and the start of Trump's second term. I just believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, James. I know you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what Rob's saying about, especially how the right feels about this, that this is definitely, especially if they arrest him, it's going to be a thing gone too far. But the exact opposite, if you watch anything happening on the left, is happening there too. Arresting Trump to them is going to energize that base. They've been waiting for this moment to hear there's charges against him for 7 years, right? I mean, you have a left that's really energized to take him out way more than they would think of a Ron DeSantis or any of those people. Trump, more than anybody to the left, is the guy that has to go, just has to not be around. And I feel like even the Republican establishment would be happy if that sort of happened. I mean, I don't know how smart it is for him to have his own party or not, but they'd be happy to see him out too. They clearly are trying to not push him in any major.
Of course. I will tell you, when you look at a lot of things that have happened, the Democrat Party, it's very clear to the American people that the Democrat Party is intellectually and morally bankrupt. They have been for a very long time. They stand for nothing. 72% of the American people feel the country is going in the wrong direction. It's not because Donald Trump is the president. It's because Joe Biden is the president. We see our people are so poor they can't shop at Walmart, so they're going to Dollar General. We see the abuses that our children suffered and we suffered with regard to COVID, and there's no any sort of accountability from China. And Joe Biden appears to be bought and sold by China. He has the worst approval ratings he's ever had right now, just above eczema, I believe, and right below cold sores. And I think this really weakens Joe Biden even more. I think this solidifies Donald Trump as the candidate. And I think it's going to lead to a Donald Trump victory. It's hard to say what's going to happen. Trump supporters have never ever been violent. I don't believe they will. But I will tell you, while they will not act offensively, they will act defensively. And you don't want to go there, because these are patriotic Americans who believe in the foundational principles of our country, and we have defended those innumerable times in the past quite successfully. And I believe we will again. But in the meantime, we just need to kind of breathe. We need to keep our powder dry. I'm not so worried about Donald Trump going to jail. Last month, or a couple months, was it last Monday they announced that he could be, and Donald Trump said I could be arrested. I said, arrest him, perp walk him, fingerprint him, do the whole damn deal, make him Lech Walesa, make him Václav Havel, make him Nelson Mandela. And that's what they're going to do. Congratulations, Democrats. You screwed the pooch. This time, screwed the pooch.
Let's just get to some comments here. Unfortunately, Joey Z, deplorable, ultra MAGA, can't stay. He had to go, but he said sorry. Bill said it's a very sad day in USA history. Ron says it's truly sad. Al, we know it violates Title 42 U.S. Code 1983, operating under the color of law. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that is, Rob?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Section 283, 4, 96, 5, 8, 12. No, I have no freaking idea. Are you kidding me? I'm not a lawyer.
Al says, if Trump is on the ticket, we will stay home and load magazines. Well, Al, I don't appreciate, you can't make comments that have even allude to any kind of violence, because even though it may be tongue in cheek, even though you don't mean it in that way, it will be used against you. And this could explain why Al was kicked off Twitter.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the day of vengeance for transgender happens.
Right.
Are you out of your mind? I mean, this is where we're done. We're done. That should be the slogan. We're done. We're tired. Honestly, we've got to stop engaging children. We need to just say no about all of this. We just need to say no. Enough with it. Enough with CRT. Enough with transgender nonsense in school. I don't care if you want to be transgender. Do whatever you want. I don't even care. I saw the Crying Game 30 years ago. Didn't bother me. But honestly, we have a bunch of petulant children in the Democrat Party who want their way. They are the class of 1968, the progeny of the class of 1968. They're used to, throwing a temper tantrum and getting the Jamal Bowman, a fine example of that yesterday in the Capitol. That bleep ain't going to work. That bleep ain't going to work. And it is time for the adults in America, and I'm thinking most of them will be Generation X like us, to say, let's save America.
So I just want to get to some comments here.
Yes.
Let's see. J.D. Vance called the Trump indictment political persecution masquerading at law. This entire charade is predicated on an unprecedented, doomed to fail legal theory and a baseless misdemeanor charge from 7 years ago. Remember, statute of limitations has run out on this too. Yeah. But he also, jury rigged or Jimmy rigged the law to make it fit what he wanted to do. It's NYPD officers. Sources tell ABC News that all NYPD officers have been ordered to show up at 7 a.m. tomorrow in uniform for deployments around the city. Hashtag Trump indicted.
Yeah. Well, the police in New York City are not. They're on Trump's side.
Mm-hmm.
I'll only tell you that. I mean, I'm not all that familiar with New York, but I believe that the police of New York City are on Trump's side, considering all the crap they've had to go through the last couple of years. Yeah. So they will treat him with absolute respect if he has to come to New York.
Allie Velshi says Trump attorney Joe Tacopina tells NBC News that the former president is expected to surrender to the Manhattan DA's office early next week.
Yeah.
I would love to see him just sit in Florida and say, "Come and get me."
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be so awesome.
It would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Might be the first shot in the next revolution too, or next Civil War too. I'm hiding in Florida.
Well, I'll just be honest.
Think about it. I mean,
if you've got a matchup between the Secret Service, the governor of Florida, and possibly the National Guard, I'll just be honest. We got to look at all
to
things.
prevent an extradition.
Then you've got a constitutional crisis brewing.
You do, yeah.
Because it's a federal crime. You got a constitutional crisis brewing. So I don't think there's going to be a civil war.
No.
What I hope will happen is we'll have a convention of states, and we will, and we're getting closer to that. Downsize the federal government. We've got to do that. We've got to reel in the federal government. We've got to return power to the states. And if you want to live like in crappy states like California, sorry California, it's just your governor and the people you idiots keep electing, you're Democrats, then you can stay there. But right now, we're already seeing that the American people are rejecting this rule of law, this way of governing in California, in New York, and other. I don't say blue or red because communism is red, and so the Democrat Party is red.
They're pink.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they are. Whatever. They're purple. Stop it. But that's what I think is going to have to happen. As far as a national divorce, as far as a civil war, no. As far as having a strong federal government, but downsized with a lot of its departmental capacity and governmental capacity reduced, returning power to the states is where we're going to have to be if we're going to preserve the union.
So yeah, Trump doesn't want that. Trump doesn't want violence. Trump doesn't want any of that. Trump supporters should just stay home. And what if they expected a riot and no one showed up? There you go. Congressman,
I would love to see what's happening in Paris. I mean, I wouldn't don't set crap on fire, but I would like to see 10 million people in Washington, D.C. I really would. I'd like to see 10 million people peacefully protesting.
But the problem with that is what happens with January 6th, and you getting Antifa who show up in Trump clothing and wreak havoc, and then Trump supporters get blamed for it. So I don't like that. I like staying on the down low. I like that they don't know who we are. 2016, they never saw it coming because they had no idea how many Trump supporters there were. So I like the element of surprise.
I understand that, but the Berlin Wall wouldn't have fallen without millions of people gathered around the Berlin Wall. I was hoping that was going to be January the 6th. I thought that was the moment on January the 6th when Donald Trump said, go quietly, peacefully to the Capitol, and he did. There were 1 million people there. Nobody covers the size of the crowd. There were 1 million people there. And I was hoping that they would peacefully gather around the Capitol and that our governors, our government would listen, because part of the First Amendment is the American people being able to have their grievances redressed by the federal government. But what did they do? They slammed the door on Trump supporters while inviting them into Capitol, lure them into the Capitol to create what I have said since January the 7th, which is a Reichstag moment. It's very clear there was no damage to the interior of the Capitol. There was only damage to the exterior of the Capitol. And when people got inside, they walked around and took selfies. So Trump supporters are not violent. They have been infiltrated in the past. It started when Donald Trump was running for president. Antifa members would get in line at Trump rallies, start fights with him. The day he was inaugurated, they tried to create essentially, and I'm using these terms absolutely deliberately. We had a Kristallnacht moment on the night of the inauguration. Windows broken, limo set on fire. Madonna saying she wanted to blow up the White House, and it's been going like this ever since.
Yep.
These are tried and true revolutionary tactics. For instance, disinformation was originally disinformatia, created by Joseph Stalin in 1923. He created a Bureau of Disinformation. He chose disinformatia because it sounded Western. And then we all know where he went with censorship, re-education, etc. after that. And here we are, 100 years later, 100 years exactly. using disinformation, misinformation. We created in the dark of night a disinformation governance board in the DHS. We have government agencies receiving millions of dollars working with the Stanford Virality Project to shut down the people's voice. Today we have people wanting to take away weapons of war, even though an assault rifle was not used in Nashville. It was a pistol carbine, not even close, invented in 1878. So these tactics have happened before. It is a matter of history that will decide how far it goes, because while these have worked in other instances, they've never worked in a country that has had the First and Second Amendment for 250 years.
So go ahead, James. You want to get in there?
No, it's okay. No, go ahead.
No, I hope I'm not overpowering anybody. I'm just
no. I'm taking it in. Go ahead.
I don't want to take over the conversation here.
No, you're doing great, man.
No,
two things. I just want to jump in with two things.
Just stay if you want me. I don't care. Go ahead.
Congressman Barry Moore is out of Alabama. And he posted a certificate that says, "Congratulations, welcome to the Indicted for Political Purposes Club. Congressman Barry Moore recognizes President Donald J. Trump for receiving a sham indictment from a district attorney who has failed to prosecute hundreds of violent criminals." And he signs it. And it's got two pictures of ham sandwiches. So in honor, he tweeted out and said, "Welcome to the club, Donald Trump. In honor of the fact that the Manhattan DA could indict a ham sandwich next, I will be handing them out tomorrow in Longworth 1504 at noon. All are welcome." So tomorrow to celebrate, he's handing out ham sandwiches.
That is a great idea. I think
Isn't that awesome?
I think restaurants across the country should have ham sandwich specials. I swear to God.
You can't do it. It's a Friday during Lent. It's Friday during Lent.
You're right. Can we just do cheddar? Because Donald Trump's kind of orange. It's like cheddar, ham and cheddar. Kind of that.
So here's the one thing. You had brought up the QAnon shaman, right?
Yeah.
And Jacob Chansley.
Yes.
We know now that his lawyers weren't given video. They weren't given exculpatory evidence. The evidence of him walking through, he didn't break into the Capitol. The doors were opened, and the doors were opened by Capitol police officers. Somebody opened the Columbus doors from the inside.
Yeah.
He walked into an open door. Nobody tried to stop him. They followed him around. One of them was trying to open a door to show him certain areas. They were like giving him a tour. Mm-hmm. He is mysteriously now let out of jail 14 months in advance.
Yeah.
And to me, the timing of that with this indictment is very curious.
Well, let me put it in ways that everybody can understand. Feces meets fan. That's what happened. Okay. The feces has hit the fan, and it's going to splatter all over Alvin Bragg's office. There you go. The same way with this January 6th thing in our guts. The American people have known there was something going on, and it's cross-party, by the way, cross-party. We've all felt a sinking feeling in our stomach about all of these things. Here's another thing. I want you to pay attention to this. And I've told you this before, Mary. Disinformation, misinformation just was whipped up and became part of the vernacular a couple of years ago. They just decided out of nowhere, disinformation. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't say anything about January the 6th, the 2020 election. You could say all you wanted about Hillary Clinton screaming that the 2016 was stolen. You couldn't say anything about COVID. You couldn't say anything about Black Lives Matter. You couldn't say anything about anything that was against the left and the Democrat Party in this country. I said at that time, if the deep state, the mainstream media, and the big social media all say that what you believe is misinformation, it means you know the truth, and they know the truth. And, you know, they can dance on this, and Joe and Mika, they'll probably have a little candlelight soiree in the hot tub tonight, which is vomitous to think about. But when you are dancing on and having a party for something that is so profoundly wrong, you're going to end up on the wrong side of history. You can dance and you can sing and you can all of that, but eventually truth is going to catch up with you, and eventually you are going to be the one that history looks upon as in a very, very negative light. And I think that's going to happen with Alvin Bragg, if he's remembered at all, by the way.
Yeah. Scott on Getter. See, I have to read the Getter comments out loud because I can't bring them up on the screen
Oh, yeah.
on YouTube. But Scott says President Trump should get a get out of jail free card after what they put him through during office. I don't see how they can do anything to him after the rotten stuff some Congress members did, dishonest stuff the Congress members did to President Trump while he was in office.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The hypocrisy here is amazing because if this is about quote unquote an affair, we already had John Edwards, who was acquitted of using campaign funds, right?
Yeah.
For paying off Rielle Hunter, who was pregnant with his love child, almost $1 million. Yeah. Trump is on the hook for what, 130,000. In the meantime, AOC is being investigated for something like over 300,000.
Yeah.
And you've got two members of the squad and two other Congress people, all Democrats, who are currently under ethics violation investigations. We know that Congress has a slush fund of taxpayer money to pay off people who accuse them of sexual assault or otherwise. So they can use taxpayer money to pay these people off. But if Trump pays somebody off, it's a federal offense. I don't understand how any of this makes sense. And I can't understand why the left is dancing because, to your point, I mean, it is New York. They could find him guilty because it's New York. It's like getting a trial in D.C. for these January 6 people. The jury's gone for 20 minutes and they come back and they say guilty. So you could see President Trump be found guilty on this, I think, because of the fact that
if that happens, all bets are off. That'll be the country shutting down. That'll be a million people outside of any sort of correctional facility where Trump is being housed. It'll be a shutdown. It'll be shut down in Manhattan. It'll be, that I don't believe that's going to happen. I really don't believe it's going to happen. And as far as I'm concerned, let him be arrested. Like I said, get him fingerprinted. Let the left think they're having a victory and realize that they're making their own bed, that they're setting on fire. Hey, can I share a piece of audio that I got off of Newsmax a few minutes ago from
Absolutely. Please do.
Alan Dershowitz, because you and I aren't lawyers, although I do know a lot about Section 1840B XYZ that I mentioned earlier.
Poor Al.
So I love that. It's kind of like some guy who's like really into Pokemon. Yeah, I got this card. Do you know about it? No, I don't. I'm not into it. It's actually not a good example. But here's Alan Dershowitz with Ancestry. And I've gotten to know Alan Dershowitz over the last couple of years. He's a fan of the show. Name drop. Thank you. But no, he's a liberal. And I've talked to him about it. I said, you and I will break bread with you, my friend, because you are a liberal in the classic sense. And even he is saying, this is so preposterous. This is Alan Dershowitz today with Greta Van Susteren.
Okay.
Here we go. And I'll play it. I'll stop whenever. Okay.
I have never seen a worse abuse of prosecutorial discretion since the McCarthy.
Here's the exception. Wait a second.
This is how bad
all right,
this is.
Here's how. Okay. Here's the one sort of thing that's possible is that, look, Michael Cohen is not believable because of the perjury thing, but he's going to maybe he's going to testify to some corporate entries, and then maybe there's somebody there that somehow corroborates him, or there's some document or some bank transaction or something that tends to corroborate a perjurer. I mean, I think that.
Well, he did have the former head of the National Enquirer on, so I predicted that it might be Bigfoot they brought in. It might be Bigfoot.
That boy.
There is that, because his name is Pecker, and whenever Alvin Bragg whips his Pecker out, he's being serious, because Mr. Pecker is anyway. Here's a little bit more.
That's probably what the DA is looking for.
Here we go.
Of course, but that's not enough, because once you open Michael Cohen to cross-examination, he becomes the centerpiece. You can't show Hamlet on the stage without the prince. He's the prince. He's the central character. And if he's discredited, even if it turns out that there is some corroboration for it, you have to have something to corroborate. And if he testifies, there's nothing to corroborate. There's not a thing he can say which is going to be truthful. I'm actually quite surprised that Michael Cohen's lawyer is prepared to have him take the witness stand if he takes the witness stand, because
I want to just continue this about another 35 seconds. Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
What he has to say is pretty fast.
I think you can't, the legal system is based on the truth and the guardians of the truth are the members of the bar, the lawyers, and they're the ones who are supposed to prevent perjuring witnesses from testifying. And if Bragg is relying on Cohen, he's not doing his job. This is the thinnest case, the most stretched case I've ever seen. And this is coming from a liberal Democrat who plans to vote for Biden again if he runs against Trump. It's not about politics. I love the legal system. I've been doing this for 60 years. I've never quite seen a case like this. And for it to be the first prosecution of a former president and the first prosecution of a man who's running for president against an incumbent Democrat being indicted by a Democrat, a popularly elected Democrat, on a case as thin as this. I tell you, it's banana republic time.
Yeah, and I would hope that the legal, I would hope that the legal system, the bar, will, to save its own credibility. Some people, even Democrats, will speak up and say, "We can't behave this way, or it's over."
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you for bringing the audio. I love you for that. Yeah. Speaking of Democrats who are saying that maybe this isn't the best idea, Charlemagne the God, who is a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
He said, here's what he said. He said he doesn't think that Trump will be arrested thanks to the potential charges, what he said, of being weak as F. He said the potential charges are weak as F. He also complained that Trump's continued freedom means that America's system of checks and balances has failed somewhere along the way. So he's
really, what should he be in jail for?
Yeah, I don't know.
The God. While you're talking about popular culture, Charlemagne, the God. I guess you're some sort of legal expert, but you're really not.
Well, he said Trump's not getting arrested, guys. He's not getting arrested. No, come on. And then his co-host said, "Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this." And then somebody's got to go back and find the video where I said these exact words to Charlemagne, and you were saying he's getting arrested. I'll bet any amount of money. Charlemagne said, "I said this 3 years ago." Why he changed his mind? He said, "Put it like this: if they indict a former president, it's not going to be for these charges. These charges are weak as F, bro."
Yeah.
So he's not a lawyer, and even he said that this is
at least he appears to have a modicum of common sense, and I'll give that to Charlemagne the God.
Right.
At least he does have a modicum of common sense. Bill Maher is the same. Russell.
Yes.
The same. Think about all these people. Like Chris Rock, did you watch his special? He was not, he said some things that were very left of center, but he's grown up. He is an adult now, and he has a modicum of common sense. You want to hear what Jonathan Hurley had to say about it real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
You have a second? This is
Jonathan
Hurley. I guess this is a couple minutes ago on Fox. He's a Democrat, by the way.
Yes. We don't hear anything.
Oh, you don't hear anything?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, never mind. He just basically, sorry about that. Thanks for telling me. Although it probably was more enjoyable to your listeners that I wasn't talking.
Al says very quickly. Al says Trump can serve from prison. I didn't know that. Rob, I'll explain 1893 on Truth Social. He's over there. One of the things I also want to point out here was that in a letter dated January 10th, 2018, that was obtained and reviewed by Fox News. Yeah. Stormy Daniels said, "I recently became aware that certain news outlets are alleging that I had a sexual and or romantic affair with Donald Trump many, many, many years ago. I'm stating with complete clarity that this is absolutely false. My involvement with Donald Trump was limited to a few public appearances and nothing more." She said Trump was gracious, professional, and a complete gentleman to me and everyone, capital letters, in my presence. Rumors that I have received hush money from Donald Trump are completely false. If indeed I did have a relationship with Donald Trump, trust me, you wouldn't be reading about it in the news. You would be reading about it in my book. But the fact of the matter is those stories are not true. In 2018, she changed her story during a CBS News 60 Minutes interview where she claims that she had a one-time unprotected sexual encounter with Trump.
More than I needed to know.
Says the man making jokes about David Pecker.
Well, I've got the sense of humor of a 14-year-old boy. Everybody does when you're even me. But listen to this. This is a letter from Stephen Ryan, counsel for Michael Cohen, dated February the 8th, 2018. I'm writing on behalf of my client, Michael Cohen, in response to your letter dated January 30th, 2018. Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump Organization nor the Trump campaign was a part of the transaction with Miss Clifford, and neither reimbursed Mr. Cohen for the payment directly or indirectly. All right. Neither Mr. Cohen nor Essential Consultants made any in-kind contributions to Donald J. Trump for President, Inc. or any presidential campaign committee. The payment in question does not constitute a campaign contribution or expenditure, and therefore the FEC lacks jurisdiction over the matter. The complaints have not and cannot present any evidence to the contrary. Accordingly, the complaint should be dismissed. Hillary Clinton, by the way, she was actively involved in electioneering to throw the election, to use campaign funds to throw an election, paid for with the help of the FBI. She paid a fine to the FEC, wasn't arrested, end of story. So
Obama paid a fine to the FEC as well for what basically they're accusing Trump of, which is a bookkeeping error. For a lot more money than what Trump is being accused of. But he paid a fine as well, which is probably why the FEC chose to not even fine Donald. They didn't even fine Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, the thing also that is, I believe, and I've said this on my show, is the shape of things to come. The reason why the FBI has hired 85,000 new agents is to do the exact same thing. It's to look at accounting errors for anybody who is affiliated with the conservatives or the GOP, to look at any slight error, to pursue them legally. Most people do not have the legal resources, the monetary resources to fight something like this. And that is the weaponization of the federal government. In this case, we are seeing local DOJ, local justice system becoming a political weapon against a political enemy. It's happening nationally. It's happening here, and this has to be the line in the sand. Otherwise, it's over. I'm still, like I said, I'm taking a breath. I'm going, everything's going to be cool, because I believe in the end that truth will win. I believe that good will win. Otherwise, Hitler's nephew would still be in charge of Germany. All right. So I believe that good will win. And I do believe that we have 250 years of precedence with the First and Second Amendments behind us, which no country has ever had. And we've come together before, and I think we'll come together in the end on this one.
So a quick question before we go. Two things. First of all, will you come back and discuss Convention of States? Because that's what we were going to talk about, because I know Al is really big on Convention of States. We have a couple of other viewers who are really big on Convention of States. I don't know a lot about it, and I could learn more. And I heard you talking about it today on your radio show.
I'll get you in touch with Mark Meckler. He's the guy who's head of it. Get Meckler on. I'll come on too. I've debated this thread in my head. I thought, and Marjorie Taylor Greene really got me going. She said, we need a national divorce. I said, no, we don't. No, we don't. Okay. It's too messy. You got to split the army. There's blood. There's this. Nope. Convention of States. Diminish the power of the federal government, the power and scope of the federal government, return the power to the states. Then you can choose to live in your crappy hellhole of California or wherever.
All right. So we'll set that up. We'll definitely get you and Mark on. I've interviewed Mark before, so I'm sure I'll be in touch with you. I get to fill in for Rob. Rob has been, I have to say,
nobody
thank you
but
to Rob.
Mary.
Rob is so sweet.
Mary is my fill-in. No.
How insane is this, though? When I fill in for him, he sends me a gift. It's insane. I'm like, why are you sending me presents? I'm making money. I'm getting paid. You're an insane person.
I'm grateful because you know what, Mary? Here's the thing. Radio is a bitch. And it can be very hard. I was selling cars 2 years ago, and last year I had dinner at Mar-a-Lago. All right. I know how difficult or tough road to hoe for women in broadcasting. You have to be Ginger Rogers, dancing backward in heels. So I am glad to have you on my show for that reason. But also, you're a supreme talent, and you are connective, and you're awesome. There you go.
Well, you're sweet, and I do appreciate you. Now, before I let you go, because we have to if you want to hang out for James's story about why he didn't make it to the show on Tuesday with Sean Spicer, you're more than welcome to do that. Or you can beat feet. That's fine too.
I got to go make dinner.
Okay. One quick thing, and this will make you smile before you go make dinner. Today, the Libs of TikTok creator Chaya Raichik, we know her, right? Did you
Yes.
see what happened?
Yes.
She went into Congress. She got a picture with AOC
Yes.
and then served her with legal papers
Oh,
for
that's even better
for
than the Trump
defamation.
indictment. I know.
For defamation because AOC had no clue who she was. And she's
I
like, I'm a
love
big fan. Can I get a picture? She
Oh.
gets a picture with AOC and then serves her. It was
Well, AOC is one of those adult children I've talked about, and she's never been held accountable for any of her loudmouth BS. And today she got had. I freaking love it.
You know what she said? AOC looks at her when she realized who it was and said, "You're actually super transphobic, and I never want to share a space with you. Thank you."
I love
And then she took her binky and went back to her room.
I love it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So,
Hey, but
well,
can
Rob,
I real quick before I go? Can I
Yeah.
just mention my TV show on Newsmax is called Rob Carson's What in the World? I
Yes.
just completed it, edited it. It's off. It's going to be ready this week. It's Donald Trump says I'm the funniest man on TV. My radio show is called The Rob Carson Show. It's noon to 3 Eastern in the time slot of Rush Limbaugh, who I wrote for 20 years. And then the podcast is called The Rob Carson Show, and you can find it everywhere.
Right. And the show on Newsmax is on Saturdays at 8 o'clock.
And Sunday.
Oh, and Sunday. It repeats on Sunday,
at
same
2,
time?
and then Monday bright and early, that's when Mr. Trump watches it.
Gotcha. Well, the next time you speak to Mr. Trump, you have to tell him that he has a fan here whose picture with him is hanging on the wall in my house.
Mine too, actually.
And I love to do it.
First, though.
I hang it in someday I want him to sign it. I want to get him to sign it one day. But I love to, I do that honestly, just to tick off liberal friends and family.
Good. Yeah, trust me, I've got some in my house too.
Thank you, Rob. You're the best. I really appreciate you. I'll definitely get you on with Mark Meckler if he wants to do. I'm sure he'll do it. You know, since you're buds, you can ask him. And we'll set that up because I think a conversation about convention estates is really important. And I think it'll be a great conversation. So thank you, my friend.
I think it's important to pray because this is beyond politics. It's
Yes.
evil versus good. It really is. It's evil versus good. Pray.
I pray to St. Michael every day when I say my rosary. I know I sound like an old lady, but
Okay.
I've been saying my rosary. My husband does it too.
Amen.
He says it in the car. I try to say it Monday through Friday, and then I go to church on Saturday or Sunday. But I pray to St. Michael to protect Donald Trump
Yes.
at every step of the way. So I believe that this is just part of it. Look at the things that has happened to Donald Trump, and I think this is the end. And then,
Easter. Easter's
God. Yep. God uses Easter. God uses imperfect people throughout history.
Amen.
Empty
All right.
vessels. Yep.
God bless
That's
you. guys.
right.
God bless both of you.
You too. Happy Easter,
You're
Rob. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye,
bye.
friend. Okay,
That was
James.
fun.
Wow. That was incredible.
He is a fireball, huh? He is a
He's
fireball.
hilarious.
He is.
I love him.
Yeah, it's funny.
So, okay. Whew. Come down from all of that. That was crazy. Let me see what's going on over at Getter because I've got
right.
Twitter up. Scott, he said Rob is very interesting. Yes, he is. So you got to check him out and check out his podcast. It's everywhere. Just search on Rob Carson. He's got What in the World is Going On as his political podcast, and then Sound Bites with Rob Carson is his short, kind of like we have one. It's kind of like his lifestyle one, just like we have two different ones. That's what Rob has as well.
Cool.
So, and you can catch him on Newsmax, as he said, and his radio show, like he said, noon to 3 Eastern. I fill in for him whenever he goes on vacation, which is not often, but he's noon to 3. He's syndicated around the country. So I think he said they're on almost 40 stations now, WOR in New York, and he's around, but you can catch him on WOR in New York, or WCBM in Baltimore is his home station. So I just send people there and you can find him. So, all right, let's light things up. So Tuesday, we had Sean Spicer on.
Correct.
Super fun. And James starts out in his car at work. And I'm like, what are you doing in your
parking
car?
lot. Yeah,
In the parking lot. I'm like, what are you doing? And so the plan was he was going to start the show out with me. Then because I had to pre-tape the segment with Sean. So while I played that pre-tape segment with Sean, which if you didn't see it, go to YouTube, go to the podcast, go to Life with Mary Walter. And I think it's the third tab over. Because if you go to the first one's home, it's under I forget what it's under, but anyway, you just click around and you'll find it. It's the first one is home, and I don't know why it comes up that way, but anyway, or go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and look for Life with Mary Walter. All right. You
Right.
can listen to it. So James is going to go, and then James is going to rejoin when he gets home, and he doesn't rejoin. And I text him like, "Are you okay?" And I don't get a response. James, why didn't I get a response?
Well, that's because we should set up that I live 8, 10-ish minutes, maybe 12 on a bad day from work. So it's really close, which is why we thought this plan would work. It's a half-hour video. I could sneak back home. I could log back on. Boom. Everything would be great. But in my sense of I better do this kind of quickly, and one more note, my normal route is blocked off from construction. So I'm now going another way that I don't normally go, like kind of a back way. I don't exactly know, but I know how it goes, right? What I don't know is where the cops are sitting, apparently. So as I'm tearing down a 35-mile-an-hour road, by tearing, I mean 50, but
50 and a 35? James, you live 15 minutes away. Why were you doing that? You had more than enough time to make it home.
I had that sense of urgency, Mary, which I don't normally have, but I did, mostly because I was tired after a long day at work. So as I'm zipping down this, nothing road near me. Nobody knows these roads anyway, but it's not a major road anyway. There's just a cop right there. It's like the perfect spot from the Nail People. Long between lights. Yep. And I saw it right after I went through. And as soon as I slowed down, boom. Now, the thing I find fascinating is once I was pulled over, the sheer amount of police that then showed up.
Oh, no.
I didn't get arrested. So, there's no thankfully end of the story like that. But it's like going into a car dealership. You sit there a long time doing more nothing than you would normally do in a car dealership, right? What am I going to do? I can't sit there on my phone, policeman's got pulled me over. I can't, put pithy things on Facebook. So I'm just trying to do the normal hands on the wheel. I'm very good with cops. I'm polite and I leave my hands on the wheel.
You have a lot of experience.
I've had some experience, it turns out, with the police, and I've learned things to do and not to do.
Right.
So it was fine other than a ticket, but
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It is just so dumb, right?
Do I have to buy you a radar detector for a wedding gift?
That might not be the worst thing in the world.
Or some common sense?
Well, I don't know if you can buy common sense, but if you can and you can find a way to bottle it, I'm in.
And so what did Ringo have to say when you got home?
You did what?
Right.
Yeah.
How many points?
So here is the lucky part of this entire thing. This is why I tell people, be nice to policemen. Whether you're going to get a ticket or not, it's really up to them. So you have only the niceness. And then when in a world full of shorts of guys just screaming at policemen, I was really nice. And you know what I found out? I wasn't wearing my seatbelt.
Oh.
No, it's okay. Seatbelt tickets, no points, no nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, but I'm not going to get points, and I'm not going to have to go for speeding.
Oh, fantastic.
Right. It's an annoying charge. It's an annoying amount of money, but whatever.
What did you tell him? I was trying to get home for a job.
I told him literally what happened. And by the way, Officer Reynolds, if you're listening, please make a comment. Please feel free.
Is he gonna tune in?
I don't know. I told him where to go. Yeah. He was very nice, but it was unnerving that there was just so many cops when I got pulled over. Like out of the woodwork they came.
Well, you know what? You can't be too careful anymore, right? Jerry says 100%. You're killing it with guests lately. Yeah, we've been getting great guests. Look at this. Tina says, I may kill him before the wedding. I can't blame cops for having, like 3 or 4 cars show up when they stop someone. I can't blame them. I get it. Listen, in our town, there are two cops on duty at any given time. That's it, 2. There's 2, except in the summer when there are more, and we have rent-a-cops, and we got the cops that, the kids on the bicycle. We got the bicycle cops. We got all this other stuff because I live at the Jersey Shore, and Staten, Italy throws up into our town on a regular basis in the summer. So, and they're horrible people. So, gotta write the checks to make the money, right? And So then we have more. But in the off season, man, our cops, they know everybody anyway. There's 3,500 people in town,
Yeah.
right? Some of them come and I'm like, oh, Pete, tell your mom I said hi, because I know I'm like, be nicer. I'm going to tell your mother. One time the cops, and all the stories with the cops here. We came home from vacation, came home from the lake, and there's a minivan in our driveway. I'm like, oh. So I call 911, and of course, our police station closes at 5:00. So you have to call the county. So you dial 911, it gets put through to the county, right? The sheriff.
Yeah.
And I told the town I was in, and so they said, well, don't go in the house. I told them there's a minivan in our driveway. We just came back from vacation. I don't know whose minivan it is. And they're like, don't go in the house. I'm like, you don't have to worry about me going in the house. I ain't going in the house, right? The entire police department shows up in our driveway. Two cars, two cops, right? And they get out, and I of course know one of them. I didn't know the other one. And they go, well, Jeannie, so they run the plates, and they're like, do you know Jeannie? And they say the last name. I'm like, oh yeah. Well, they say Robert, her husband, and then say the last name. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, there's an Altar Rosary Society meeting 2 houses down. I bet you she parked here so that she could go to the Altar Rosary Society meeting. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh, small towns.
God, I was at one time, I think, were we on the air when the lady hit the telephone pole in front of our house?
I remember this. I remember we were on air.
It happened late at night.
Yeah.
And she knocked over the light post and everything.
Right.
And I don't know if we were on the, yes, because remember her husband called, found out, who, and called.
You're right.
And
right.
to make it right. and he's one of these, if you're from Jersey or New York or Philly, you know what I'm talking about. There's this going on. It's like, how much damage she do? And I'm like, well, check out a couple of hedges. Those hedges were replaced like that. Somebody came over, replaced the hedges. No questions asked. And he's like, oh, you come over. He goes, I'll give you a bottle of wine. I'm like, no, we're good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're great. Yep. Yeah.
Great. But the cops put her in the back of the car. Now, I don't know if she was tired or drunk or what, but she missed the road coming out of the building across the street. At least that's what she said, and hit the pole. And they put her in the back of the car and drove her home.
That's very.
That was it. So
small town. Yep.
So, I love my little town. So, anyway, so that's what happens. That's why James was not here, and it all worked out okay because it was just a small ticket. How much was the fine? Like $25?
Oh no, a seatbelt ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to go pull it to check the number, but it's up there. It's over $100. yeah. So I'm saying I'm making a nice donation. Yeah. It's a nice donation.
I feel so bad.
Like I said, no points, no insurance. That's the
I know, but please don't ever feel like, I know you've got a good job. It's going to lead to bigger things. I think you're entrenched there. Like right now, a lot of what you do is not so great, but it's going to be, there's a path for you to grow in this job. And I think that's a smart route to take. It's not a dead end job.
Right. But it's a very good company, 100%.
So please don't feel like you ever have to race home to get to this. Okay. We don't get paid for this. So I totally understand, but I don't want you to get a ticket on my account, okay? Or not on the show's account. So please don't do that.
I should probably not lead foot things. That's a very good point, yes.
Yeah, you probably should not. You should not lead foot things. So let's see. Wherever Scott is, he says $25 where he is for no seatbelt. But we live in the People's Socialist Republic of New Jersey, so it's a lot more.
Oh, yeah, it's bad New Jersey.
Really
I think down the shore there's a town it's like $250. If I'm thinking like Summers Point or one of those towns down where I used to be near is like $250.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Ugly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot, right?
That's crazy. Ringo here says, I'm nominating him cleaning the guinea pig cages this week because of it. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. So I'm going to work on getting Mark Meckler on with Rob. That'll be great. And you and I'll just sit back and drink and let the two of them go. All right.
Yeah. The
or
would be very.
Yeah, conventions would be fantastic. If you got other things, we'll talk about it. So
Yep.
we'll do that. I will let everybody know. I'll tweet it out. I will put it out there everywhere on social media that the two of them will be on. Hopefully we can find a date soon to do that. Now for Life with Mary Walter, for another installment of Pundits Are People Too, I'm working on KT McFarland. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I want to get some women in. Doesn't have to, not
of
all
course.
men. Yeah, I want to get some women
definitely
in.
women.
I love KT. I adore her. I used to work with her at Fox. It's just the nicest woman.
Aw.
So I'm hoping to get KT on. So we'll do
Like
that.
it.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. I hope you realize that. I hope you know how much we appreciate you,
Yes.
and how fantastic you all are. And we will see you on Tuesday. And hope Monday I'll probably be on with Chris Salcedo. So that's probably what will happen then. So, all right. Thank you so much, guys. See ya.
Yeah, bye, everybody.